Good evening and welcome to this evening's main episode of the Orta podcast. I am joined tonight by Luke and Smarty, but what we're going to do first is we're going to run an intro. I'm going to line it up because I'm not there yet. And then we're going to come along and we're going to say hello and we're going to see how everybody's getting on. We'll speak to you on the other side.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Orta Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
You look like fucking Brolin, you're a Leeds eating bastard.
Look like some sort of fucking weird floating head. No.
You utensil player a bit, innit?
I mean, I feel a bit right, dickhead.
Nothing spectacular, really.
Somebody not so long since did ask what that came from, and I think I was trying to do my best to replicate the Crystal Maze theme, and then Smarty talks about being a floating head nonsense. Yeah. So I think that's where it came from. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing? Smarty, how are you? Good, sir.
I'm absolutely spiffing, sir. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. I'm okay.
Nice.
I'm just about recovered from the weekend, which brings me on to Luke. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I think after tonight's sleep, I think I'll probably just about come round. Yeah, brilliant weekend. Yeah, drinking on a Sunday, mate. That's it. I didn't have anything to eat either, so I was literally just throwing the beers back.
After the weekend Johnny had, the weekend before.
I know. But I'm hard, and I'm not from East Yorkshire, so that's the difference. We're made different in West Yorkshire, aren't we?
Not from Hull.
No, yeah,
not from Hull.
But no, really, really good weekend actually. I spent Saturday I watched a game, and then went over to Milton Keynes to watch the Leeds Knights get beat ice hockey. With the eldest, and then Sunday morning early set off. I was drinking on the train down to London at I think I got about the 9:45 train in the morning, and I think we got in at about 2 or 3, and I still ordered Uber Eats back to the hotel room because the bar was shut. More beer.
Nice, long day of it then. So no wonder it's a little bit to get some sleep back in.
Yeah.
Very good. So just to start us off, I'm just going to say happy birthday to Carl Schutt and Vince Hilaire. There we go, you see.
It can always turn into like fucking... We're going to get bloody greeting cards and shit to read on. And it's Chris's birthday today. It's 5 years old.
Do you remember when... Do you remember on kids' TV where they used to do that with the cards?
Yeah.
That's where we're going with it. Love mum and dad.
Here's a little picture. And little David, he's 7 today. Lots of love from your mum, dad, and Uncle Steve.
That's it, yeah.
And just before we get into any of the main bit, I'm just going to pop this comment up as well. I don't know if you had a chance to catch up on a BMC, Luke, but Smarty were really mean to one of our followers, giving him loads of shit for calling him Smithy. So there's an apology to Smarty.
To be fair to Chris, he was half cut, so I'll forgive him that. But it's not the worst thing I've been called, by far. So you are more than forgiving, Chris. Yeah, some fucker called me Kiko Casilla once.
What do I call you?
And it were one of the fucking little wanker J's mates and all. Little shit.
I mean, he got thrown out at 15 toes that very night. So, you know.
Yeah, he fell asleep and pissed himself, so fuck him.
Same guy.
Just on trying to be factual about it. I said it looked like he had, but Jay said that was just the standard flaw in the 15 toes. So who knows at this point? But yeah, no,
I'd like to think that he pissed himself. Prick.
So we shall come on to the next bit, and I'm going to talk slowly until I've got this lined up.
Orta Know Better predictions.
Like clockwork, this, no problem. So we've got 2 games to catch up on. So our first game, and there were points all round on this one. Nobody came away with less than a point. So it was QPR through the week. So we can have a quick chat about the game, but just to run through the predictions results for it. I went 3-1 Leeds. Everybody went Leeds. I went 3-1. Fans went 2-1. 3 points. That was Alan Kennedy. Well done, Alan. 2-0 Smarty was the shout. That's 1 point. 3-0 from Luke was 1 point. 2-1 Leeds from Carl was 3 points. Jay went 2-0, and that's 1 point. And Bren went 2-1, and that's 3 points. Before we go on to Bristol City, because there are 2 sets of results, but before we go on to Bristol City, I just wanted to ask Smarty. So from the QPR game, do you know what? It's fun, this, isn't it? It's a much more fun league, isn't it?
Don't you think? Absolutely. I can't remember the last time I felt miserable, apart from when I'm probably talking to Jay or something on the Peacock. But genuinely, it's just a right laugh. And it's just, it just makes such a nice change from being miserable and just wishing that the season were over and stuff when we're in Premier League. It's just nice. It's comfortable.
It does. And I kind of almost slightly pissed on Luke's point a bit in asking you that question rather than him, who made the point at the tail end of last season. Actually, do you know what? Right, because we're going to have a load more fun in Championship. I said about being relegated, but to be fair, I'm going to give you some kudos. I think you were right.
Yeah, I mean, it is a better league for a club like Leeds United. And until we are serious, and look, there is a massive gulf in class. Look, there are some anomalies in that league, in the Premier League, and things don't always go the way you expect. I mean, you look at City against Wolves last week, you got beat again by Arsenal at the weekend. So there are anomalies and there are exceptions to the rule when we beat them 2-1 as well. But all in all, to be competitive in that league, you have to be almost pretty much state-owned and almost be a billionaire's toy, really, to be anywhere like competitive. And we're not that, and we probably won't be for many, many years, and it's only going to get worse. The difference between there's 5 or 6 teams in that league that can compete financially, and then the rest just hope that they can get into Europe and make a little bit more money, and then you've obviously got probably 5 or 6 teams down there scrapping for relegation, usually the 3 promoted sides and 2 or 3 others. But yeah, look, I said last season we're going to enjoy seeing us actually play football. We had very little of the ball last season in terms of possession. We did very little with the ball. It's nice to see a decent style of football we've got a better squad than we had last season, which was a good start anyway. But I almost knew that we would be in a better position when we're playing teams, I don't even want to say proper football teams, but they are. You look at how cleansed the Premier League is and the stadiums you go visit on away days, and you put that in comparison to the Championship, and it's chalk and cheese. The Championship is still very much football, proper football. I wouldn't say it's affordable by any stretch, but in comparison to the Premier League and the expectation there, then yeah, it is chalk and cheese, and it is a much more fun league and more competitive league. Other than Leicester, and Ipswich seems to have started really well, but I doubt they could keep it up. Other than Leicester, there isn't really any other sides in that league that look better than everybody else other than ourselves, and we have looked better than everybody we've played this season. We've just been unfortunate with results, so it is a nice position to be in. I am enjoying watching week in, week out, and I still don't think we've seen the best of Leeds United.
No, I think if you look at the results that we've had, we'll come on to Bristol City, but if you look at QPR, there was a gulf in class, but we only beat them by a goal. So there's certainly more to come. I don't know. Back to you, Smarty, on this one, I guess. Do you think there's a real tonking coming for someone?
The thing is, it's who, because it could be Leicester, who we stuck 4 past, who are flying at the top of the table, or it could be someone really, really shit like Wednesday, who we drew 0-0 with. It could be any one of them.
Leicester, who we stuck 4 past.
Ipswich, sorry. Did I say Leicester? Sorry, I meant Ipswich.
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, but even
Leicester
then, actually, if
they're right at top of the league.
They are, but if you look at the balance of the game against Ipswich, actually, we could have scored considerably more.
That's what I mean. So you'd think that it'd be a tougher game, but we were scoring quite freely. But then again, obviously, they're set up completely different to your teams like the Wednesdays and stuff, which you'd probably expect to stick 4 to 5 past, who were down at the bottom of the league, and end up, making it really difficult for us. So at some point, I half expect it, but on the other hand, I probably expect that we'll probably lose by a significant number as well. You know, it works both ways in this division, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. Just to ask the question, because I don't think any of us, were it Jay and Carl that did the BNC through the week? I wasn't on it, but I'm assuming
it was myself and myself and
Carl.
Was
it was a long weekend, wasn't it?
Well, we've actually been on Danny's podcast, Smarty and I, since then as well.
Of course,
so,
yeah, no, that's fair.
So
That is
I
fair.
can't remember.
I just wanted to ask our thoughts on the Bamford Begovic piece.
Is this? Yeah, I was on it. I've spoken about this at length. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But in terms of, I don't know if it was before it was overturned. It was more around that and the process that's gone through. Whether you'd had a chance to speak about that.
Yeah, we did. We managed to have a chat about it actually at the time, and I think my thoughts were that it's setting a dangerous precedent for future appeals, based on just the recklessness of how high his foot is and whereabouts on the pitch he is. And I think my summary was anywhere else on the pitch from any other player, an outfield player, and that's a red card, and it's not overturned. Now, just they've obviously overturned that based on it being the goalkeeper and saying that he hasn't touched him. But if Paddy doesn't move from there, he gets a right clatter and the guy gets 4 or 5 games. Do you know what I mean?
Having just been clattered when he just came on, you know, he were upended. It were almost a spear tackle in rugby, the way that he landed. Mm-hmm. So it's absolutely not surprised that he got out of the way, is it? So, yeah. Smarty, any views on that one?
It's a strange one because like there was some intent there. I don't care what anyone says. He were lucky that he didn't clip him or whatever. But there was intent there. Like Luke said, you know, his foot were a good, you know, sort of maybe slightly above waist height. If you've gone and air kicked someone, if you went to actually hurt someone and air kicked them and missed, you'd still get a foul. You'd still get a yellow card for that because your intent's there. And we've seen it a few times. Players have reacted and gone to kick someone or whatever, and they've picked up a yellow card for it. He's picked up a red card, but that means he's got away completely scot-free. You know, yeah, it's probably morphed to us that he got a red card than a yellow. It was. I think whenever you slow anything down, it either makes it look a million times better or a million times worse. When we were watching it in real time, that looked like he'd taken him out big style, and it looked a hell of a lot worse than it probably was. But at the end of the day, like we've said many times, Bamford's basically jumped out of the way to try and save himself because he doesn't want to be injured again. For the Christ knows how many times he's probably going to get injured this season. He's only just come back from a friggin'. He's trying to be careful. He's only just come back from an injury himself. And he's turned around and been totally honest. But there's still people like them two bellends on second tier podcast that completely didn't have any context or whatever. They just seen that the challenge, just seen it. Oh, Patrick Bamford is dived again, and they just went in on him. It's like, hold on a minute. He turned around to the referee and said there were no contact. He were open and honest with him, but the referee, because he'd probably already made his mind up and dared go back on his decision, he'd sent him off. But fuck him. Fuck him.
Yeah, Russ has very kindly advised and reminded me that it was me and Jay who was on because he was on it. And actually Vivek came on that one as well. So yeah, I do remember now. Although it was less than a week ago. Less than a week ago. My memory deceived me from time. I am getting a little bit old. I need to start taking what's that tablet you can take to keep your brain healthy? Is it vitamin zinc or something like that?
It'll come to me. It's two words, isn't it? But it'll come to me. There might be others. I don't know. Anyway, fuck it.
LSD? That's really
I don't think that one does. It brings back some memories at unexpected points, I think. So I think we're in a position now to just move on to the next round of predictions results. So we come on to Bristol, and I'll just run through the results there. So I went 3-0 and get myself 1 point. I was top of the league until this point. The fans went 2-2 draw, which means they get -3, I'm afraid, Andy. Bren went 2-1 lead, which gets him 5 points. Jay went 3-2 lead, which gets him 3 points. Carl went 2-0 leads, which gets him 1. Luke went 3-1 leads, which gets him 1. And Smarty went 2-1 leads and gets himself 5 sweet points.
Get the fucking there, lads. Straight up.
And just to run down the table there, that leaves Bren clear at the top of the table on 12 points. Former winner, of course. I'm in second place on 9, also a former winner. Carl's on 8, Smarty's on 7, Jay's on 6, Luke's on 4, and the fans are on 2. Interestingly, Luke. Yeah. So you haven't had any minuses there. You've just not landed Bob on the result. And you went 3-1, and it should have been. I've actually got a picture on my phone. I went 3-0 actually in this one, but I've got a picture on my phone of the Elland Road scoreboard that says 3-1 on it. But it was then chalked off, so it doesn't count. But it should. It absolutely should. So to come on to Bristol City, then I actually thought, Smarty and I did the BNC on this one, so we have talked it through. But I actually thought that overall, they're probably the side that's come to Elland Road and given it the most. Luke?
I'd agree, mate. Obviously, I wasn't at the game this weekend, but yeah, watching it on telly, they had a real good go. They were really well organised. I mean, we were still superior in most departments, but they were well drilled. They knew the sketch. They'd obviously done their homework, and yeah, caused us some problems. I didn't really ever think that. That's probably a bit of a lie. I felt troubled a couple of times, but I didn't ever feel that they were good enough to beat us on the day. But I still think they were probably, as you quite rightly say, probably the best side to come and actually go toe to toe and actually give it a bit of a go. But yeah, still, I still think we're probably better than 22 teams of that in that league. I still think there's only Leicester that are probably better than us on paper and based on performances. We just haven't. There's just a little bit of the ingredients missing to make it perfect, isn't there? Yeah. We do some stuff really, really well, and then it gets a little bit sloppy. We had to rely on Archie Gray to fill in at right back. By the way, it was absolutely immense. Playing in his second position because I think he made 100% tackle success in that game as a right back. I don't think he missed
really.
One tackle.
I've not seen that. Wow.
And he was up against their top scorer for the majority of the game. Then they moved him in the second half. Sam Bell it was. They moved him from the left to the right, then put him up against Sam Byram, and he still had no look. So yeah, it was some really, really top performances in there, both defensively and up the other end of the field. Yeah, a lot of positives to take out of it, and not so many negatives again, which is what you want to see.
Yeah, I think the only thing is just the scoreline, isn't it? Because it didn't really reflect the game, and we're not being clinical enough. I think we're not putting teams away. So you get to the last 10, 15 minutes, and we're only one goal up, and it's probably more us than the players. Let's be fair, because we've been burnt so many times in the past that Christ, this side's not hurt us at all, and they'd already sucker punches at the end of the first half. I went down to get a pint on 45 minutes. 7 minutes later, I'm told that it's 1-1, and I'm like, hang on a minute, it should have been half time for 3 minutes. What are you talking about? I couldn't get it. But I think it is one of them where I think I would be quite interested if you cut off the first 3 games of the season. I think we're 11 games in now. If you cut off the first 3 or 4 games of the season and look at just how tumultuous it was around us at the time, the fact that we had no idea who were going to be playing for us at the end of the window, who we were going to retain, who were coming in, I think it was a really, really difficult time. And I think we all spoke at the time about Farker and the way that he was handling things. And I think it was a big deal, the way that he got us through that period. It was difficult. We drew with Birmingham, we drew with Wednesday. All right, that one so early on in the season, but it does feel like it's coming together, and I think that you can see that.
I've seen an alternate table somewhere today, and I can't remember exactly where it put us in the league. I think we were second, only 3 points behind Leicester, dismissing the first 3 games, based on performances since then. And
really? Just today.
Yeah. I've seen it today, somewhere.
All right, I've missed that completely. I'd really like to see that if you could find it.
Oh God, I can't even remember who posted it. But yeah, it's something I'd come across today. That ignoring the first, and I know it's very, it's a little bit naughty ignoring the first 3 games because we were there. But I think what it does prove is how much we have improved. You know, we had very little to work with. We didn't know what squad we were having in throughout August. By the end of August, we were playing players who were no longer here, and so on and so forth. But yeah, come together really well, and I think that just sort of echoes and re-emphasizes my point around we've not seen the best of this Leeds United this season. We are going to absolutely trouble some teams and score lots and lots of goals when that front 3 or 4 click properly, not Mateus, but the group, that when they click, I just can't. We can only get better, and injuries allowing, willing Onto to come back in that team as well.
Yeah, and do you know what? A lot were talking about the best side in the league, and who's your wingers. And I think because of his recent injury and that, I think a lot of people have forgotten it, because it were is our best winger. Is it Somerville? Is it Ruta? He's kind of playing up front at the moment, but his best games are when he drops deep, and he also gets pushed wide sometimes, doesn't he? When Paddy came on, I think he went wide. So and not a lot of talk about Willie Onto. So he's kind of let it go under the radar, and then we'll see when he comes back in, and we'll just have a little bit, an additional string to the bow. I do think anybody that's putting 8 or 9 of our players in the best side in the Championship at this point in time is probably getting slightly ahead of themselves. But do you know what? I don't mind it. It's fine. Yeah. It's just a bit more.
It's all right
fun,
to be biased every now and again.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt anybody, does it? So crack on for me. So I've just spied there, actually, Luke, coming on to just a bit of a more general discussion point. You've got a RAF shirt behind you. Have you seen any of the stuff around Barca and the sheer volume of money that they owe today?
Yeah, I'm a little bit skeptical of those numbers, because it says that they still owe us 62 million euros, which is more than they paid for him. So we were told we sold him for 50 million or 54 million or something like that.
Like with 55 million euros, but yeah, that's still,
yeah. I mean that still showed that. But I'm pretty sure I remember something Phil Ave announced that they'd paid it up in full prior to the 10 million, because they were going to get an additional fine if they didn't pay it of 10 million euros
within a certain time period.
I very much believe that's clickbait and just being designed to try and get Leeds fans to interact with it. I don't believe that for a second. That Barcelona always.
But it would have Barca account though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but I mean, there's lots of Leeds ones make stuff up about Leeds as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Didn't they release some accounts somewhere? I don't think it was too long ago, where it still showed that they owed money for Junior Firpo. Still,
yeah.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's not the only player that's left, and they still have outstanding balance against.
Some rate tick is that? Some clan are bashing that.
Yeah, but their economic levers and all of that stuff. But while we're on it, actually, I think we also saw. Well, not I think I did see. We also saw some stuff from Kieran Maguire today that I think you'd had a quick look at, Luke.
Yes,
in terms of the Ellen Road ownership and so on.
Yeah, so there was first thing this morning, woke up, I had a couple of texts from my mates and saying, "Oh, fucking bloody Wrexham still owes this, owes that," and I was like, "Oh God, give it a fucking rest. I've just woke up." But yeah, so I looked into it, had a read about it. Yeah, it's around Ellen Road and the rightful owners and who owns us and how much rent we're paying here. And for me, I was just a little bit like I was perplexed, because I thought, well, why is this news now? Like, I mean, we're in October. Who gives a fuck? Like, and I understand. Look, they've just released the paperwork, the finances or whatever. Now they've not been officially submitted, I don't think, to Companies House, because Phil Hayes since said that once they've been formally submitted, that it actually will show the right information. Now, yeah, it's a no news story. It's another. I feel Kieran's used it as a bit of clickbait to get a bit of interactions, because it is no news, and well, maybe he hasn't, because it is news because it's only been released today. But I think he knew what he was doing when we see that actually he mentions it about Rad still owning Ellen Road. However, these accounts submitted to up until June last year, I think. Is that right? 22?
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and check. I don't think it was. I think it's January 23. But the point is that runs beyond.
I thought it went all the way up to start of August. That's why I agreed with Luke.
It runs to the 8th of August, so they're actually submitted in January, but that's the balance sheet cut-off point. But if there's any major events post-balance sheet cut-off point, it also says, and this happened since these were submitted. But it takes forever for anything to show on Companies House anyway, so it could have been part of the takeover and it's just not hit yet. Because I think the takeover, as we were discussing in the warm-up before we came on, the takeover was in August, but we think was towards the end of August.
We think it was, yeah. So the signatures are dated the 8th of August, I think, if I remember rightly. Now, I've tried to look back and actually see when the formal confirmed date was for the official takeover. Now, I have a feeling it was later in August because we were do you remember us scrambling around and Rad still having to sign bits off and stuff? Does anyone remember that?
Yeah. No, because he was still the CEO, wasn't he? So it was a case of the approval still had to come from him. So no, right. I do remember that. But at the same time, how much of that can you give credence to? Because we don't know the inner workings of the board.
Who cares? Who cares? Yeah. Because ultimately, if 49ers have Boyer as part of the deal, 49ers own Ellen Road. It doesn't matter who owns Ellen Road. We don't own it as a club ever. We'll never own it again as a club. In fact, we've probably never owned it. The chairman who owns or the majority shareholder tends to own Ellen Road, and it's always going to be used as a bargaining chip for future sales. They're going to say, well, you're going to get Ellen Road, which is valued at 10, 15, 20, 30 million pound, whatever it is. And that's all it is. It's an additional bargaining chip, like selling a house. When you sell a house, if it's got a massive garage, then you sell the garage with the house. You don't keep all of the garage. But I think I can understand people's frustrations, and I understand why people were quite angry because they just don't want him to have anything to do with the club anymore. But the same people were slating the 49ers throughout the transfer window, saying, "Told you these fuckers were worse than Rads." So you just got to be careful. You've just got to be careful who you read and what you believe, because you could be there forever if you listen to some people and just be misinformed and miseducated. It's not right. Some people just I don't know, for some reason want to see something go wrong. I think that says that more about
some people just thrive in negativity, don't they?
Yeah, and it's not nice.
It's a kind of a hangover from last year, whereas predominantly the fan base has been really positive. I know a couple of people are saying in the comments that it's nice. It's like it is a new slate in it, I suppose, but it's just nice to have that fresh start, and like everything's going right for a change.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I think it's one of those where we saw. I mean, under Cellino, it was completely different context anyway, because we're not quite as basket case as that anymore. But you're not going to put a conservatory on an house you don't own kind of thing. But so it is important. But then we're not going to see any development in the short term either way. But it's like I said to you on Twitter, Luke, or X, whatever we're calling it these days.
It's still Twitter.
It's one of those where the 49ers' best interests align with the best interests of the club at the moment, because the only way that they can benefit from the club is for there to be a success. So I'm fine with it. I'm quite zen about it. It's fine. Yeah. I just would like it if
that's more your OCD, though, isn't it, I suppose?
Oh, it is. It absolutely
you just want all your ducks in a row, or eggs in a row, as I said before.
Everyone seems like really, really quite chilled about everything, though. I mean, even when we were playing really, really good football with Bielsa, I always felt really panicky. We must win this game. We've got to win this game. It was like I would, like desperate for a win. Now I'm not. I'm pretty chilled about it all, and I don't know why, really.
Do you think it's because do you think it's because the expectation is that we've got, or where we know that there's a lot more to come, and if we're doing this well now with very little time with the current squad together, realistically, in comparison, you look at some teams, Leicester, they've been we went through such a drastic change in the summer. It was no other club went through a change like ours. You know what I mean? Ipswich made about 3 signings, I think. and added to their squad. So they were still riding the crest of a wave. Leicester didn't lose that many. All right, they lost Harvey Barnes and James Maddison, arguably the best 2 players, and Tielemans and a few others. I mean, they lost a few important players, but they had such a big squad. They've still got players in there that are good enough for the Premier League. All our players that signed wanted to fuck off. Simple as that. Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know if it's an accumulation of that and the fact that I'm not desperate to get back into the Premier League. I don't think. I think I've been scarred. No, genuinely, like I was speaking to, like I said before, a few times. I work with a few town fans, and you know, obviously they give us our take on. I give our take on it, and they've given me their take on it. And there is some kind of a mutual agreement that you spend and you want so much to get into the frigging Premier League that when you're actually there, it's fucking shit. And then you go there, you get relegated. But now it's like, well, if we get there, fine. If we don't, then
the journey's better than the destination.
Absolutely,
yeah, it's far much more fun than actually getting there. And whilst this is still considered the holy grail, it's wank. Let's be honest. Nobody wants to be winning. Yeah. I mean, if you're lucky, 1 in 2, 1 in 3.
Yeah.
When you get to the Premier League,
I've hated the last 2 seasons, obviously excluding this season. I hated the Premier League in the last 2 seasons. It scarred me. I don't want to go back up because I don't want to be in that position again. I felt genuinely fucking miserable. It made me feel miserable, and I'm not pining for that at the minute. I'm happy to just be steady along. Like I've said before, one of the best seasons I've probably certainly whilst I've been a season ticket holder, was under Gary Monk, because we were good, we were efficient, we weren't the best, but we were just going along with it. It was just nice. It was just a really, really good, enjoyable season. We nearly got into playoffs. We didn't. We missed out slightly. Maybe if he'd have stayed on, we'd have had more of a input from. I think it was Rads then, wasn't it? Did Rads or was it Chilino who appointed Monk? It was Chilino, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Chilino, yeah.
But Rads took over at the end of that season. Maybe we could have kicked on a little bit more under Gary Monk, and you never know. We might have got somewhere under him.
He slithered off, innit?
He slithered off the middle, didn't he? So, but this, it's just nice and calm. I 100% back Fark. I think he's brilliant. I just love everything about him. And if we get there, we get there. If we don't, then there's always next year.
Yeah, and it does take the pressure off in the short term, as in this year, next year. I think it's not sustainable, as we've seen with many other clubs, and as we saw a lot of talk about with Rads, is monetarily, fiscally, it's not sustainable to mount a challenge year after year if you never get promoted. So to avoid that, we're going to have to get promoted in next season or two. But it is one of them where actually we can enjoy the journey at this point, because the pressure's off this season. We can actually just have a fun season, and we're going to come on to some of the comments now. So I don't want to repeat some of the ones that I pulled to one side, but it's just fun.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to nip through some of the comments, because there are
just
some,
quickly before you do.
Yeah, go on.
I've just got a question, Tasha. What do you mean? Come on, guys, lads. Has ads been flashing up then while we've been live? That shouldn't happen, should it? Only at the start.
I don't think so.
Well, ads won't be a double D, would it? So are they just saying to subscribe to us?
Ah, right. Well, let us know what you mean, Tash, because I don't understand.
Yes, please explain yourself.
If they've started putting ads during the live stream,
that's no good.
We'll have a look at that, because I didn't.
We'll have to find another provider.
Yeah. Where are you from, Tasha? Let us know what region you're from, because it might be just your region or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it won't be our platform that we're hosting it on. It could only be YouTube.
What's your name and where are you from?
Blind Date, what a show! What a show! Bring back Love Silla.
Graham with a quick recap.
Right, I'm gonna get.
That's a really good. That's a really good impression. That he definitely dresses up as Silla Blackman on the weekend.
He's practiced.
I don't have the ginger hair.
Well, you don't have any.
Yeah, you got a wig in that drawer behind you, don't you, buddy?
Little pencil skirt.
Right, we're going to whiz through some. So, Mad Max says, it's strangest feeling out for the players this season. Oh, that's it. We love this team. And just to comment while we were talking about the Championship versus the Premier League, is it's a league of proper fans, not sterile bollocks, which I think is echoing the point you were making, Luke, about.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's sanitized or cleansed, used. It is that sterile. It does feel that way. It feels a bit more raw, doesn't it? I know that QPR didn't bring many fans, but Bristol filled at least the top bit. And you need that. You want some of the away fans. You want some of the stick that you get from away fans. I think we need that.
You thrive. I mean, naturally, our home atmosphere thrives off the away fans. Like, I mean, you've only got to go back to the QPR.
Well, it does
game
in South Stand and Cheese, definitely.
Yeah, I wasn't there at midweek, but you listen to it on, and
It was.
I mean, I know there's lots more, reasons as to why it's a little bit more flat on a weekday. Quite obviously, Peacock probably takes a hammering from midweek games in beer sales, but yeah, it is. The louder the away fans are, the better our home fans tend to be, I think.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And equally, you can understand why train strikes and midweek game, why a team from London didn't rock up with a lot of numbers. But it does impact the home crowd if you don't have that away fans, because it needs that edge.
Yeah.
Carrying on, Coleslaw and Toast chimes in. Thought Gray was brilliant on Saturday. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you'll find many people arguing with that one. Nope. Matt Wright comes in. Good to see the fans appreciating the efforts of the players for once. That's not really something that we've touched. I know we kind of skated around it, but the way that we feel about the players and the way that we see the effort of the players, even if some of the players aren't quite, Dan James gets a fair amount of stick for his end product and so on, but you can't fault his effort, and I think that's something that we've always looked for as Leeds fans, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pablo Hernandez. There was a Pablo Hernandez comment released this week, and he said exactly the same. If you put your body on the line and put your all into the shirt, then the fans will love you, even if you're having a bad or poor performance. Not that he'd had many, Pablo Hernandez, but yeah, even if you're having a shit time, they'll still get behind you if you're giving 100%, and that's what we want to see.
It is. It absolutely is. And I think, if you look at some of I think they tend to get called cult heroes when people are being a little bit unfair about their ability, but they put 100% of the effort in. But if you look back at some of the heroes that we've had, they might not have been the best player in the team at the time, but they were still seen as heroes anyway, because they put a big tackle in and they put the effort in. And I don't mean Steve Morrison like the shift. Just mean in general, they will put the effort in. Just another point on Archie Gray from Liam B. Archie's going to become a very special player. He's outstanding on Saturday. He'll get better and better. Smart is already advocating for retiring number 22 on his behalf. So,
yeah, why not? Fuck it.
It didn't do Birmingham any. It didn't do Jude Bellingham any harm, did it?
It did not. It did not. Not All Over Leeds podcast is in the house. Is that the one that you guys went and joined on? Was it Thursday night?
Yeah. Danny over at Another Leeds podcast. If you haven't, then you should go and check him out, because it's
Smart is marketed and promoted them more than he's marketed and promoted us over the past week.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Like and subscribe, guys.
And Shandy, or just a beer? Never mind. So,
I can't tell you. It's disclosed information.
The comment from Not Another Leeds podcast is, evening, lads. I see it's a supermodels on tonight, which, thank you very much. Talking of people that might think themselves as supermodels and potentially over coiffured, what do we make of Jack Harrison? Those comments that he's made on the fans.
Oh, please enlighten me, because I don't know.
I've got it here. So, Jack Harrison said after the game, "You see how much it means to fans when you're working hard. I'll always keep pushing myself to the limit, and it is great to do that in front of fans that appreciate it."
There's two
now
ways.
We just need a tumbleweed soundboard, don't we? Down.
There's two ways of taking that in there.
Do we think that's badly advised and he didn't mean anything by it, or do we think that's a dig?
I don't think it's a dig. I don't think so. I don't know.
And there you have two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. I can understand why some people might think it's an absolute dig. Yeah, 100%. But I suppose it depends on what your outlook on life is, I think, as well.
So you're judging Luke's outlook on life?
I think some people can... No, I'm not saying it's specifically Luke. I'm just saying that if you were quite a pessimistic person, you could say, oh, he's a fucking wanker, blah, blah, blah. I've been caught doing it myself a million times. I know what it's like. But I can also appreciate that they will only show you in a little bit of fucking whatever the club releases what they want you to see or hear.
So I've not heard him speak, seen a video with this comment in it. I don't even know if that's available, but all I've seen is him being quoted as having said
That's
it in
what I
that
mean.
manner. So
Yeah.
it is difficult. So I guess the
100%
question
rat.
is, have either of you actually seen the content from which it's being quoted?
No, but it's from Everton's official fan page, official Twitter page.
It's Everton's official Twitter.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, you would hope that they've managed to get that accurate, but I've got no faith in them doing anything right anyway.
No.
So, I think I probably land somewhere
Poll
in
up
the middle.
anyway. I've put a poll up, and it's Harrison comment: rat or harmless?
You should have put rat or nat.
Rat or rat? Ah, missed a trick there, didn't I?
Right, okay, we'll carry on with some of these comments. So, Tasha, Ipswich are scoring lots of goals, also conceding lots. At some stage, their goals will dry up. Oh, or they might get it together in defence. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, we could have scored. We could have bagged a hatful against them. You know, they scored 3 against us, and they have been scoring goals, but we could have had significantly more. So I think that's a fair point. Moving on, Mad Max asks us, here's a question for the pair of you. Who's your best player so far with 11 games down?
Rutter.
Best? Who do you think was best, or who do we prefer, or who's our favourite?
Best player. But it says best.
Ampadu for me.
Ampadu for me. I think the thing on Rutter, I saw a stat this morning that was, I think he is clear in all 4 of our top domestic leagues for creating big chances. I think it was
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's got to be more than 30% likely or more than 0.3 xg for it to classify as a big chance. And I think he's now far anyway. I think Salah's the closest. I think he's on 10 or 11. Salah's on 9. So he's doing something right, but what he's not doing right is scoring goals, because he's also leading the missed big chances stat. So, you know, rough with a smooth. But I think it's really good to see players playing with a smile on the face, and he's definitely doing that. But for me, I think the way that Ampadu's played, he's brought such a calmness, and he's got such a maturity about him as a young player. Because he is still a young player. He's got such a maturity about him that when we've had a bit of inconsistency behind him, where Cooper's come in, Rodon's got banned, Strike's been there throughout, but then we've changed fullbacks God knows how many times. I think
Strike.
he's provided a lot of solidity. What?
You hate Strike.
Strike's a sexy pirate. I don't hate Strike. What are you talking about? You hate Liam Cooper. This is the problem.
I think if you rephrase that question and ask who's the most important or most consistent, I would probably agree with you both. But I think the best player, as in the most skillful, and as you say, he's already created the most chance in all of English in all of the English leagues.
Is your best player your most skillful player, though?
Yeah.
It depends how you define it, doesn't it?
I don't think so.
So you've played
I'd
football.
say I think the best player
teams you've played in,
I think the best player,
apart from me.
or the best player in one of the teams I played in was a lad called Tom Fletcher, and he were a CDM, and he were fucking brilliant. So there you go.
Best at what though? Defending.
And then me, because I were left wing and I were fucking belting.
I thought you were going to say Bab. When you ain't been a
I were Bab.
fucking Bab.
Have you seen this left foot, bro? Have you seen this left foot, bro?
I've seen that head. What are you not doing up front or at back?
Hey, how many fucking heads do you think I fucking tell you? Honestly, like a fucking breeze block, son. Yeah, it's just what you want it back at defence when I'm taking a corner. On love, no problem.
We've had a couple of comments in from people answering. I think Mad Max is saying Fireman Sam. I'm assuming that's Sam Byram for his player of the season so far. We've had Ampadu for me. That's from Paul Brennan. Lee Fry's in the house. Ampadu do Max. And nobody tosses a dwarf is in. Rutter for me. Centre of everything good at the moment. Who would have ever seen that coming? That's what she said.
I think as well we've got to take into account how many people have written Rutter off based on the price tag and what we saw of him last season. Do you know what I mean? And I think I think that goes a long way to actually seeing how much he's turned it around. And look, he wasn't And this doesn't necessarily make him a better player, but he was our most expensive signing ever. He wasn't. We didn't hear a rambling once of him wanting to leave in the summer. He just got stuck in. He's worked hard, and it's paying off. And for me,
apparently, Dortmund came in with a mediocre effort, didn't they, to try and take him off us?
I think it was a substantial offer. I think it was more than we paid for him.
No. Listen to the new PH podcast. Of course, you would have done.
If you've just been relegated and somebody comes in with a £40 million bid for anybody,
we didn't pay 40 million for him, did we?
What day are we
on? No. But you said it was more than
late 20s. Late 20s.
Yeah, it could rise, but no. If somebody comes in, even if it's 35 million, as a relegated, it's very, very difficult to turn down.
It was the Philae show, Square Ball Philae show yesterday. I think it came out. Philae said that it was significantly under what we paid for him. All of them were. So it was a mix of him not actually wanting to go and the club actually saying no, we're not willing to let him go for that. So don't shoot the messenger. That's what he said.
No, that's fair.
But still, at the end of the day, he still stayed. You know, he could have. I'm pretty certain that he could have left quite easily, but he didn't want to.
He would have had a relegation clause in his contract with all others that had signed during that period.
Maybe so.
Yeah, he could have pushed for it. But who knows? He's here and he's loving his football. And as I said, I put my hand up when he said who'd written him off. I thought he was gash. I didn't think he was ever going to offer anything at all.
I think we've all fired into him a little bit, especially towards back into last season when we weren't seeing him and he wasn't contributing a great deal. But then again, his confidence was absolutely on the ass. Allardyce even said his confidence was on his ass and he didn't want to expose him to that. You know, his point was putting a kid in like that and having him.
But by the same token, what we really, really needed was somebody to come in and be a 9 and make an impact to the side right then. So maybe there were a lot of emotion going along with it as well. But yeah, I would 100%. I had written him off. Didn't think we were going to offer anything. Luke, it looks like you got something ready for us.
Yeah, just on. I was going to ask the question if we were allowed to play it, but I'm just going to do it anyway. I don't care about YouTube if they're going to start showing bloody videos halfway through our shows anymore. I'm going to play it, but people have been mentioning about Sam Byram, and I don't know if anyone managed to see this video that came out. I think somebody did put it probably in the comments a minute ago, which made me remember it was Mark Wright. Has anyone seen the video on Twitter regarding the left back position? Well, we're going to play it now for you. And, see what you think. Can you hear the sound?
Yeah.
Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by.
Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified, and then I see the look in your eyes. Turn around, fight. Every now and then I fall apart,
And I need you now tonight, and I need you more than ever. And if you only hold me tight, we'll be holding on forever. And we'll only be making it right, 'cause we'll never.
Belting.
There you go.
Belting.
So yeah, that's courtesy of I forget, was it Christopher Smith at the Boy in Green on Twitter. So if you do want to go back and watch that, thanks ever so much for that. But yeah, absolutely class. And honestly, but the first time I saw it, it's when the Pascal comes on. Turn around.
Yeah.
I'd start one of the comments, or one of you guys had, and I'm hoping it was one of you guys because I'd not seen this comment. Skip, can you just let us know if your cat's all right, mate? Because apparently he's dropped his new fridge freezer on it.
Oh yeah, I started that.
There's no further information at all.
There's just two dots. Say that's what I mean. We need to know more.
Yeah.
Is your cat dead?
Come on, Skip. You're gonna have to let us know if your cat's all right, mate. Please.
Is your wife called Cat?
Oh God. Moving on.
Does it mean Matt?
Chris won't dropped on me, mate. It's fine. Chris Frost has asked. This is who apologised to you, Smarty, after you were so mean to him.
Chris.
Are you all starting to fall in love with the team again after last season's shit show, lads? I think we've covered a certain amount of it, but is that a bit strong? Starting to fall in love? Is it about right? Are we there?
I don't think we've ever fallen out of love with the team, have we? I think that's a little bit harsh. I think the players we will fall out of love with, but in terms of the team and the club, we're always going to love Leeds United. So I think probably a little bit a little bit harsh. And even at points last season, there was some good points, weren't there? You know, early on in the season, beating Wolves away towards the end of the season. There was some good times, and even for Aronson and players like that, there was glimpses where we thought, you know, we might be able to love these people. But turns out that it was a bit of a shit show last season. But I wouldn't say I ever fell out of love with it. I would just say that, you know, you just sort of lose a bit of interest, don't you? When you're getting pumped every week and you're playing shit football, it's difficult to really invest. I mean, we still did these podcasts, fuck knows how, week in, week out, based on those performances, and we managed to do it. So yeah, I mean, I would probably say falling deeper in love with Leeds United at the moment, and it's you know, when there's something sexy to watch and it's exciting, then naturally we're going to enjoy it more. So yeah, I understand where he's coming from, but I think I wouldn't say I ever fell out of love.
Mm. I think we all, like you say, I think we'll all love the club, you know, regardless of what happens. You know, League One, Premier League, it don't matter. I think the only person I've ever fallen in love with, if you could call it that, would be Bielsa. I think he's the only person that could probably qualify me being absolutely, completely besotted with him. But I do like Farke. I really do like Farke. He's not in the same category, obviously, because it was just a different time. But with the players, I think I've been scorned from last year. I think it's really put a lot of feelings towards a lot of them to bed, and I'm kind of, I don't want these feelings about these new lads. I just can't take it if they leave. So I'm trying to just say, yeah, he plays for Leeds United. Fucking, he's probably going to leave at end of the season. Fucking, but
yeah,
that said,
and make sure that's not Rodon, because you know
he's probably going to leave. Yeah, he's probably going to leave.
He's definitely
almost certainly. There's no option.
Just to say there's no option. Just to say there's no option or obligation, as they usually say. It doesn't mean that we can't go in for him. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that we can't go in for him, though, does it?
Yeah.
If we get promoted and we say, right, Tottenham, here's me balls straight on that table. What are you saying?
How much did they pay for him?
Table, please,
it's paid quite a way for him, I think.
Just clean that. Sorry, Lou.
Paid quite a bit of money for him from Swansea, wasn't it? I thought they paid quite a bit for him back because he was only.
There's me here romanticising, thinking that he'll walk straight into whoever's office and go, "I want to play for Leeds United." Fucking hell, you know. And he just won't happen, will it? Because
he's from North Wales.
He's from South Wales.
Why did he do a Scottish accent?
I don't know. I
could talk in pure sheep language to you.
I mean, to be fair,
so they paid 11, rising to 15 after add-ons, which is quite a bit of money for a young centre back from the Championship. So I think, I mean, you look at Ben White though; he went for 50 million after he'd been on loan to us. Do you know what I mean?
I'll just show Max's comment in here. Yeah. Oh, it's gone. Is it here? Have you taken it off? What are you doing? What are you doing to me?
No, that's it.
So Mad Max is in the comments saying Leeds are always loved. It's unconditional, just like your gran with a mustache.
I mean, okay. So just getting through some of the remaining comments. Andy says, in other news, Leeds are winning games again. Feels good to be one of the best teams in the league. Yeah. Some of the Farke comments that Smarty was just making. Daniel Farke handled the start of the season well and didn't panic with the players who took their 30 pieces of silver. Level-headed manager who doesn't panic. Now on this, he appears to be level-headed at times, but inside sometimes he is raging. But he did say that he didn't want to communicate that to the players because the players don't need an emotional manager. Now, we spoke about Jack Harrison and whether that were a dig. Smarty and I have already had our take on this. Luke, do you think that's a dig at Marsh?
Is what a dig at Marsh?
Talking about players not needing an emotional manager at Leeds.
I didn't hear these comments actually.
It's probably not.
Basically, what he was saying is he wanted to chuck water bottles round and scream and shout and rant and rave at sidelines, but he kept it.
Why are they scared?
They don't need
to. Why are they so scared?
Do I think that's a dig at Marsh? Potentially, but I don't know if Farke's that type to say sort of I dumped her first. I think he just says that actually I've assessed this player, this group of players. There's a lot of youngsters in there. They don't need somebody with too much emotion. They just need to be, they need to be encouraged, but in the right way. I think he's done his own self-assessment on that. I don't think he's based it on previous managers or anything. But probably, possibly, I don't know. But knowing what I do of Fark and what I've seen of Fark so far, I don't really have him down as that.
I hope it would dig me personally. I fucking really do.
I
hope so.
If it was a dig or not.
I love Fark.
If it was.
I think he's fucking ace. Fuck Jesse Marsh, prick.
So I think just to touch on Luke's point, I think Marsh is less I dumped her first and more she goes to a different school. And probably didn't exist in first place.
Holes in different area codes and all that.
Paul Brennan's use of the emojis are unrivaled, though. Aren't they?
They are.
Absolutely.
Loves it. Lee is in the house. Fark has been a rock. I fucking love him. He proper gets and respects the position he's in at a massive club. And to be fair, yeah, maybe that's why it might not have been a dig, because I think he is respectful of the position that he's in. Jay is with us. Agree Andy Fark has moulded a real team, seems to have brought back a proper culture to the club. I think that's fair as well, and I think that's what we needed. That's what we're alluding to. I'm just looking. There's been 100 comments since I got started on these, so there might be some stuff to come back to. But Simon tells us our attackers are not natural finishers. No one instinctively in right place, right time.
Can't not say that about Pirlo.
As an extension, well, he's not in right place at right time. If you want him in 6-yard box, he's outside the box, but he's scoring from there. So, you know.
He's scored plenty on inside the box as well.
But when Rutter's in the 6-yard box, in fact, 2 yards out, right place, right time doesn't always equal a goal anyway, does it? So
I mean, you could argue Dan James might have been in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that was in the box. So, you know. But it is coming together. It's that, isn't it? It is coming together. You can see that it's building, and we've got that momentum. Tom Brown says, "How good has Rutter been? Never mind about relegation or asked to leave. Just got his head down, cracked on, and he's been fantastic." I think that echoes the point you guys are making, won't it? Somebody else has starred this one. Luke, I'm about to open my editing app. Is that a threat?
Is that a Cilla Black?
That's his Cilla Black stuff. I hope to God that's happening.
Oh shit!
Oh, he's literally just come back now at bottom of chat. He's just replied, surprise, in Luke's inbox.
You have a look at that. I'm just on my last comment.
Looking forward to this. I can't wait to see that. I hope. Do you know what? Right, I hope he's got me and you as guests, as like contestant number 1 and number 2. If that's not the case, he needs to redraft it really, really quickly. Because I'll be disappointed in you if you haven't done that.
Do you want me to show this one or not?
I'll just do this last comment and then you can. So Skip says, and I'd love somebody to ask Barker this in his next presser, given what he said about playing who he is in the 9 and who he is in the 10. Do you think in the January window we're going for a number 10 or carrying with what we have now?
I think it very much depends on how we continue now. I mean, there's a lot of time between now and the end of December. If we're still missing a little bit, I mean, Pirro's doing fantastic in the 10, but he hasn't made 1 assist all season, which is not what you expect from a 10. He's scored plenty, but he's not made 1 assist. Now it's doing what Farker wants, and it's working. But for me, it very much depends on player fitness as well. I think if they're all still fit and we're still firing and it's still working, absolutely not. We don't look for a 10. I tell you what's worth a shout though, Sean McGurk. He's absolutely flying in the 21s.
Yeah,
he got two goals and an assist the other night.
And we've never seen him have a sniff 10. Either, have we, really?
He's a natural 10.
He's not even had a sniff at first team.
And he does look a bit like Cilla Black and he's Scouse.
Yeah. It's a fair one.
Which brings me on to my next point.
Where you go, then.
Fantastic work, Danny. Well done.
Let's have a gander.
Looks more like Noel Edmonds.
Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it?
Not so sure about the red.
That's brilliant. Danny, we need one as him on blind date. We need me and Gilly and probably someone else, maybe Jay or Carl as contestants. That'd be good.
Sat on the stools?
On stools. That's what we need. Get to work.
Class work, Danny.
Wow. Just to go back to the Skip comment, actually, just one quick question is, if he sees that the 10 role has been taken, and should anything happen to Paddy in the meantime, Given that Ruta can play wide, can play deeper, the question, if we change the question slightly, do we go for a 9? Would that change your answer?
No, I think we've still got enough in the 9. I think as backup, I think we've still got Matteo Joseph at the club. We've still got Nonto who can play 9, allegedly, and obviously Pirro who can move there if desperate. So yeah, I don't think we've seen much activity in January. I'll be honest with you.
No, unless we've got a
as
massive
it stands.
injury or something.
As it stands,
How would you reckon we'd lift Ilias Chair from? Is it QPR?
We were in for him,
or
weren't we?
Bristol. Can't remember which one he's at. Is it QPR or Bristol? Can't remember.
Who's that? Ilias Chair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it QPR? He's a cracking little player, him.
I mean,
But then
he
that's
didn't do
just
much
a
against
greedy
us, but
side
then
of me thinking, oh, I'd love to buy him, but we don't
surrounded
probably have a
by
role for
shite,
him.
didn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, we were in for him, I think, over at close season, weren't we?
I don't know.
There
To
was
what
rumours.
level
We
were
looked
we
at
in
quite
for
a
him?
lot of players, according if you listen to
Well,
read and believe
that's
everything
true.
you read. So yeah,
That is true. No, that's fair. And he's only a tiny little thing, isn't he?
Yeah, he's proper small.
Somewhere between Jay and Luke, I think.
Like a Saiz kind of stature. But then again, Nonto's only small, isn't he? He's not a big lad.
That's true.
His centre
That
of
is
gravity
true.
is amazing.
And we do have some capability at the back now and some height. You know, if you've got Aileen, Stroik, Rodon, Cooper, Byram, all to pick from, you know, there's some height at the back now. So, yeah, okay. So, in terms of the... What's that? Oh, no, it's my laptop popping something up in front of my window. I thought you put something else up.
Are you getting some ads now as well?
Well, yeah, I was, but it's just from Windows rather than all else. I've not had a chance to see any of the comments since I moved into the Stard. So have you guys been starring? Because there were a couple I'd not seen.
There's only, I think there's only one right towards end.
yeah. But just what Paul mentioned there, obviously about when we were talking about January, he just said one thing in January we have to hang on to lads who are playing well. Yeah, important. It's imperative at that stage of a season, and if we are still marching and looking at. Can you hear that dog?
Dog.
Is it your dog?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it's that'll be more important to us in January to keep hold of people. I mean, the only people I could think of, I mean, that we haven't just signed who might be on the radar is people like Archie Gray. You know, you look at some. I'm gonna have to mute myself.
I can't see players like Archie Gray getting lifted in January though.
I mean, we touched on it in previous main pod, didn't we? But the concern that we've got there is the fact that he's on a short-term contract because you cannot give a 17-year-old.
Yeah. When is he 18?
Years. Now you're asking. Come on, Jesus Christ!
I think he's only just turned
answers.
17 recently, hasn't he? He's not. I mean, we're talking probably a good best part of 9-10 months left till he's 18.
Sure.
So I thought he broke a record that was 17 and 200 or something. 17 years old and 200 days or something like that. Date of birth is March the 12th, 2006. So by the end of the season, we'll be able to offer him a longer contract, but in January, we're still in the same position.
Yeah.
There's only 5 months left then.
Yeah.
It's another window, isn't it, to get
Congratulations, Archie. He's a fucking 7-year contract for you to sign. Release clause is monumental. There you go.
And we promised to retire his shirt.
I think there's a little bit of safety now. I hope to God this doesn't happen. But you'd like to think a pedigree name like Gray, the family connections that he's got with this club. You'd like to think there's some kind of it's like a kind of a security check there, maybe that he might not get swayed too much by some big name interest. That you'd like to think, no, I'm going to stay here and crack on with Leeds, possibly, maybe. No,
I hope so.
A 17-year-old he ain't going to be playing in Premier League, is he? Let's be honest. It doesn't matter how good he is. So do a Calvin stick with Leeds for another year if we don't get up. I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. So just other bits. I've got an England shirt on. Did we give a shit about England playing in a friendly against Australia? And then we've got, is it Italy next Tuesday? Qualifiers?
No,
I don't
so
care.
Cal can fuck off.
Yorkshire, not English.
Yeah, Yorkshire, not English.
Are you Scouse Silla?
Nah. I'm what? Yeah, I am now.
Whoa, wash your mouth out.
Did you? Somebody, I seen some comments today that it was released that obviously we've been successful in getting the Euro 28 into England and Ireland, and even though there's a Scottish and a Welsh stadium being used as well, I think they've announced it as UK and Ireland.
Irish.
Sorry, English and Ireland. Yeah, because they've called it English and England and Ireland. I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But is that not the bid? Or have we actually been awarded it?
We've been awarded it today.
No, so
right. I didn't realise. I thought that were details of the bid. Oh, right.
Yeah, no, it's been awarded today, and they've announced all the stadiums that are going to be used, and obviously, as you'd expect, Everton, their new stadium got announced, and so the Scousers are kicking off proper bad, and I was just like,
Scousers have been absolutely raging, and Scum Trafford's not in there because it's not fit for purpose.
Falling apart.
Fucking brilliant. Oh.
Luke's got a lot of love to give.
I was just going.
People that don't know who Cilla Black is are going to be, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. International audience, when she's not been around for the last 20, 30 years, going,
she's still
what
alive?
on earth are they talking about? I think so, but she's not.
Cilla
exactly
Black?
Yeah.
No, Cilla died about 10 years ago.
Did
What
she?
Yeah.
Wow.
Telling you.
There you go.
She's one of them, isn't she? Like, you know, these celebrities that have been around for years and you just don't know whether they died or not. Oh, fucking hell,
Well,
2015.
Yeah, died a long time ago.
Right.
Priscilla Maria Veronica White.
Coleslaw. I love coleslaw. Here you go.
She's dead.
She's dead.
Wow.
Subtle as a brick there, coleslaw.
I'm hoping that's Silla and not the cat.
Oh yeah, we didn't. Yeah, is the cat dead?
Did we get a response? Because I were busy.
I don't know.
in the
I don't
comments.
think we
Did
do.
we get a response?
I don't
We've
know.
got another
I don't
podcast
think so.
here with us tonight. Leeds United Pub Talk podcast. There with us.
Now then, how we doing? Nice to see you in.
Welcome.
I'm gonna have to have a scroll back when we're done and just see if I can find out about the cat. Because I really want to know. Yeah, no, it was Skip, I think.
Oh, Skip's cat. Yeah, so yeah.
What is Skip's cat?
She get it. Is that Cilla Black?
Is he still talking
the
about cat?
I hope it's not Cilla Black. She's been dead 8 years.
Who's getting it, Skip? Someone's getting it. But
Oh
we don't
no!
know.
Here we go. It's all right. We can all relax. He's fine. Teach him for getting in the way.
Cat fine.
that's
Cat fine.
Just absolutely sensational.
What's it done wrong?
That is a hell of a cat. If it's had a fridge freezer dropped on it and it's
And
fine.
No, and it's right.
And
Yeah,
it's fine.
sorry, got it. Yeah, the cat is fine. I thought it was getting fined for something. Well, I thought, what the hell's a cat fine?
Who the fuck was punching dolphins' balls? What's that?
I once said something about punching a dolphin in its blowhole at the start of the season sometime. I can't remember why. I don't know why. I have no idea. I think it were on the Carl Darlow cooking me Sunday tea in episode, or the pancakes. I think it was that episode.
Okay.
I don't know. I was just off on one when I fucking taught some right
It's taking a
shite.
turn for the
Don't go
worst
around
this place
fisting
now.
dolphins.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Right.
It's a family show.
Let's make a move. Anybody got any other things that they want to bring up just before we move on to the last element? Have we got any Orta no bitters or anything like that?
No, because I'm happy.
There's nothing.
I'm
There's
happy.
not a lot to
Doing
be
all right.
bitter about, is there?
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I think probably the only thing is really the standard of refereeing is pretty poor, isn't it? I mean, it's always poor. But even you look at the Premier League refereeing, and that's shit as well. So I just think generally that's poor. But it just seems to be
Also true.
another level of shit.
Yeah, and we'll not actually while we're live on air, we'll not get into what Keith Stroud does in his spare time. We'll leave that for other people to know about. But yes, very poor. But it sometimes goes in our favour, and I think that's the difference now, isn't it? Without the corruption of VAR, we're in a position where sometimes the shit and it goes in our favour, and sometimes the shit and it don't. Like when the ball was out and it was very, very clearly out, but it would have been our throw-in and we're calling for it. But then 30 seconds later, we scored.
Yeah.
Great, I'll take that.
But then you look at like the penalty at Birmingham.
Raging if it were the other way around.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you would. But then look at that. Just the last point that I wanted to make on the sending off against, well, for us, I guess, but was some of the most fun I've had so far this season. Just while Begovic were just properly kicking off and losing his shit on the pitch was ace. That were brilliant. It was really fun. So it's one of them. I just wanted to move on. Just lastly, so it is World Mental Health Day today. So we've got the iconography on. We've got Andy's Man Club as a backdrop. There was a very, very poignant. We're not playing this one, but we have tweeted it out from the pod account. There was a very poignant video that was put out by Norwich today, and I don't mind admitting, it choked me. I teared up because I felt that actually watching that video, the way they get the message across in that, because it takes you by surprise at the end. I don't know. I do know a little bit about how good you guys felt, but you can talk about it if you want to. But would it landing in the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. I first watched it. I think it was Woody shared it first thing this morning, and I watched it, and I thought I was just a bit still emotional from the weekend and all the beer and that. You know what I mean? I thought, when you get a bit teary now and then over little things when you've had a few beers and that, and you're just still a little bit rough. But when I started seeing other people's views and comments on it, it was so touching, such a clever video. Where the way it, and obviously we can't show it for obvious reasons on here, but I suppose maybe we'll retweet it from our
I have done
pod account,
and we can do it from our own as well.
Account,
yeah.
But really, really touching and proper moving. It's just such an intelligent video, and it's moving. I think is probably the best word.
Yeah, I'd agree. Smarty?
Outstanding, really. I would like to say. I mean, I had to watch it twice because, I'm not going to spoil it for people, but obviously, there's a focus. You've got a main focus in that video, and then it right at the very end, it just flicks it round on you and just go, holy shit, And if you watch it back again, it makes you just look at it from a different perspective, and it's just really, really so very well done. Really, top effort from Norwich for doing that. Fantastic,
and really quite simple.
It's very, very easily put together.
Power, it's quite simple in the way that it plays out. So I think that's part of its power, the fact that it's got that simplicity. But I think the message is, so at the end of it, it links with Samaritans and some other charities, I think, and I think it is important to understand that it is all right to not be all right sometimes. Nobody's expected to be perfect all the time, so. Yeah. It is all right to be all right, to not be all right, should I say. And I think when it comes to struggling, if you are struggling, then reach out to your mates. There's lots of people that have struggled, and I think as a fan base, they've had a lot of support. And I think that's important to recognise as well, because people have been there. When there's been difficult times and somebody said, I can't cope at the moment, there's been a lot of support. There's been an outpouring of support for people. There are people out there that will be able to lend an ear. And I think it is important to know that you're not alone in struggling. There's a lot of people struggling at the moment. It's just difficult at the moment. So I think Lee's been in the comments tonight as well, and he's involved with AMC. And just as part of that group, we have there is a fundraiser up and running, and we are going to be subjecting ourselves to a mural, as Cal would put it, a mural walk around Leeds, checking out all of those icons. They are now, I think, and his iconography. Around the city, I did have a look at a bit of a look at the route, and we're taking in the Gary Speed mural, and we're at Elland Road, and we're out at Putsey, and we're at Edinley looking at Bielsa. So there'll be plenty of pictures. But if anybody does have anything that they can spare that they can put towards that's really appreciated as well. And just one last comment I just want to flash up from Andy's Man Club, just the October events. So Sunday the 15th, so that's this coming Sunday, 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. Barber Club at W2 Barbers on Easterly Road. Come and get your haircut or just have a chat. All proceeds to AMC. On the 27th from 6:30 p.m. till 9 p.m. it's Pool and Snooker Night in Northern Snooker on Kirkstall Road. Have a game of pool and a chat. They do ask for small donations for tables, but it's not essential. And then Sunday the 29th is a walk and talk at Bramley. So to meet outside Bramley Baths, a bit of a short walk around Bramley Park, stop off at a cafe halfway. All events away from Mondays are open to everyone, friends, family, partners, etc. So don't worry about feeling like you're leaving people out or whatever. Monday night is I just think for the individual, but all of the events away from the Mondays are open to everybody. So take anybody along that you fancy. So I think that's. We've had a few comments. I don't know if there's anything.
No, I was just going to flash them up when we're doing the closing video.
Cool. Yeah. Ready for that then.
Wait on. We've got an inbox.
Oh,
from might be Luke's. It might be in Luke's inbox. I think Danny's work has come through. It's like it's on demand, isn't it? It's great.
2 seconds.
He's having to get rid of kids again.
No, little one's been sick.
Shit. Oh God.
Get in my bed, darling.
It's all right, dog. Will lick it up.
Please be sick in his bed as well.
Let's flash this up then quickly before we go. It's very well done, Danny, and congratulations.
That one looks brilliant. Less like Noel Edmonds. I'll give him that. That's pretty good.
God.
We'll
tweet them out.
I look white. I look chuffing anemic there, don't I?
It's a weird colour in either way.
Could do with a few iron tablets down me. I think, or a pint of Guinness, one of them.
Go for both, mate. Go for both. No worries.
Yeah.
He'll only bung you up, but you'll be fine. Cool. On which note, thank you very much to the pair of you for joining me. Thank you very much for everybody getting involved in the comments. It does make this thing flow so much easier when people get in. When people get involved in the comments. So, no, we do appreciate it. We appreciate every subscriber, every like, all of the sharing that you're doing. Please retweet when you see it, the stuff around AMC and the walk that we're doing, because the more we can raise, the more it takes away some of the pain associated with all of the walking that we're going to have to do to get ready for it. So it is appreciated, and every penny as well. So thank you very much. And on that, we will call it a night. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Good night.